You want clarity, strength, and a solid ground to build an empire on? Then come with me! Isn't that amazing? Look at this massive tower overlooking the whole area for almost 800 years, standing strong and firm throughout the ages. And what does it take for that? A solid foundation. What's true for this castle is also true for our life. Well built and sturdy, we keep standing whatever life throws at us, if the fundament is right. Let me show you how you can build your own castle by joining me on a discovery, starting by 3 profound insights. Let's go! Hello, my name is Oliver Merck and I'm the founder of The Crucible, the channel for clarity, prosperity and making independent decisions. Today, I want to give you 3 great thoughts to ponder. 3 thoughts which, when rightly understood and implemented in your life, make the difference between a life of meaning and emptiness, between clarity and confusion, between a prosperous future and nothing to hope for, and drifting through life like a leaf in the wind. But before that, just a few words about this channel. This is the first video of my new channel. New in quotation marks, because I have been entertaining a YouTube channel for many years and also changed its name during that time. But with today, things do change. And I will post from now on a regular basis. After many years of trial and error, this channel has finally come to a clear and solid base from which henceforth it will be operated. Studying numerous subjects from history, philosophy, psychology to modern neuroscience, slowly but steadily, the precious gold came to light through a tough and relentless process of purification in the fire of the mind. Like in a crucible, the ignoble was separated from the precious and noble. But for now, enough of how this channel became what it is today. There is plenty of space for that to come, but words are cheap and what eventually counts are actions. So without any further ado, let's get into the topic. So, my dear viewers, here comes the first thought to ponder. The end depends on the beginning. That's right. How we begin something determines its outcomes. Some of you may remember the movie The Emperor's Club with Kevin Kline, where the dean of the boys' boarding school makes a reference to the school motto, Finis origine pendet. The end depends upon the beginning. Whenever we begin something new in life, whether it is a new career, a relationship, or even a hobby, it is good to focus on what's fundamental, what is solid enough so that we don't build our house on sand, so to speak, but on a solid rock. That is what stays when everything else goes away. Envision yourself in front of your eyes, envision an ocean in motion. There are waves all over the surface, some higher, some smaller, but all are appearances on the top layer of this ocean. A wave is usually short-lived, reaches its peak, and then collapses again. And so are the things of life. But what stays is the ocean itself. Having a reliable base in life is like this ocean. In our quickly changing world, in which we are permanently bombarded with informations, opinions, messages from all around us, in an environment craving and competing for our attention and playing on the keyboard of our emotions, concentration on what is really fundamental, what really counts, has become a precious skill less and less people can master. Time is precious and we all could have more of it, but a lot of time nevertheless is wasted, ironically, by hyperactivity. We do a lot, we are busy, but a lot of time slips through our fingers because we are active, but not effective. After a hard day of work, you are exhausted. And if you review your schedule, you find all kinds of activities you did. But there is this nagging feeling that tells you something is wrong. All the effort was not giving you the satisfaction you longed for. And quite often, even the results are less gratifying than you expected. Why is that? Most likely, you were not giving enough attention to the beginning and knowing why you did the things you did. You rushed into the work, which is most familiar, and things are just the way they are. How could you do them differently? The solution? Every day take some quiet time. For example, in the morning, before the hectic of the day begins, and contemplate the most basic things in life. Things like what's really important to you? What kind of man or woman do you want to be? Or what are the things in life you are certain about and can rely on completely? You will be amazed how such a little practice on a regular basis changes the quality of your life dramatically over time. In the end, all in life comes down to the moral foundation on which your life is built on. The fundament is all about clarity and reliability. Heraclitus meant a man's character is his destiny. And Sigmund Freud agreed by mentioning that character is fate. The ones who disencourage you to have a strong base in life, for example, people who propose ideas like everything's relative, are the people who don't want you to succeed in life, who want you to be weak, to be molded and manipulable by all kinds of outside forces. A strong inner fundament, on the other side, makes you quite immune against harmful outside influences, keeps you on track, makes you more effective, productive, and successful in life. If you button up a shirt the wrong way, beginning with the first button, there is no other way than to unbutton the whole thing and start all over again. And so it is with all things. Starting the right way does not only apply to the big things in life, like which profession you shall choose, who shall be your spouse, or what shall be your spirituality, but also to the things like daily routine, eating habits, or exercise. Whenever you have given thought to your basic principles, according to which you lead your life, and come back to them on a regular basis, you're way more likely to succeed. Solid roots make a tree stand strong for centuries, as well as sturdy fundaments make a building pass the test of time, like the castle keep I showed you in the beginning of this video. And the same is true for our human lives. In future videos, I will show you how such a solid fundament can be planned, designed, and built in all areas. Imagine yourself in a situation of high stress and turmoil where everybody seems to lose their mind. Maybe you see yourself in a fear-driven, hyper-busy, almost panicky board meeting or emergency of some kind, where chaos and uncertainty rule, foreheads are covered in cold sweat, and blood pressure is skyrocketing. And you? You are calm, you relax, and you hover over the situation like a Buddha. But you are not in denial, you do not close your eyes from the reality that happens around you. You just know. And that distinguishes you from all the other fellows around you. Wouldn't you like to acquire such an outstanding skill? Doesn't it sound attractive to you to be the man or woman whom everybody trusts and relies on when everybody and everything else fails? Well, the good news is it is absolutely possible, and I am revealing to you one crucial key component of this ability, which brings us to today's second thought to ponder. Simplicity beats complexity. Yes, you've heard right. Simplicity, not complexity, gives you the mental clarity you need to find orientation in any situation in life. But Oliver, Isn't simplicity a sign of simple-minded people, of people with minor capacities to think, or lazy chaps that just don't want to do the hard work of thinking things through? Well, I can reassure you, that's not the case at all. Actually, simplicity is the result of figuring out what is important and what is not, and most of all, how things fit into the bigger picture, so that chaos turns into order. And such needs quite a lot of intelligence, but even more of an almost forgotten virtue in our times: wisdom. It is the insight that thinking as a valuable tool is helpful, but is by far not enough for deep understanding. It is the capacity to abstain from your own ego, your direct and personal interests, and the connection of yourself with the bigger whole, with totality, which brings greater benefits. Therefore, there is no true wisdom without humility. The bigger your ego, the more you will panic in a situation of danger, threat, and emergency. It is a huge misunderstanding to think a lot of complexity would point to high intelligence. In fact, it is a sign of insecurity, not competence and not intelligence. The one who hasn't understood a topic easily makes a lot of words and fabricates all kinds of complex mental constructions to disguise the lack of understanding behind it. Simplicity, on the other side, improves understanding and efficiency. It helps you to stay on track when things get hard, eliminates distractions and supports focus. It even makes it more likely to succeed, for there is less stuff that can go wrong. When things are simple, not to forget that simple systems have a tendency to be more resilient and robust than others and can stand the test of time more easily. And after all, it's nature's way of dealing with life, with its own development, and with solving of problems in general. And when it comes to ideas, to messages, there is one big golden rule. The more you compress an idea, the stronger it gets. Now, having said all that, there is a tremendously important connection which makes simplicity extraordinarily precious and important in your life. Are you ready? Then here is how simplicity leads to another significant payoff. Simplicity leads to clarity. Clarity leads to agency. And agency eventually leads to ownership of your own life. That's right, you're gonna own your own life when you start with simplicity. And I think I don't have to tell you what massive difference there is between someone who owns his or her own life and someone who does not. The ability to create simplicity is a superpower, which makes you stand apart from the absolute vast majority of your contemporaries. And that, my friends, makes simplicity to such a potent and game-changing element in your life. So, let's come to the final big one of the thoughts of today. What if you would always know what moves the needle in your life? If you could distinguish between what's within your control and what is not in any given situation? Complete knowledge, of course, is an illusion. And humans are always prone to miss the point, but picture yourself on a freshly plowed field with good and fertile soil. It's the right season and you plant your chosen seed into the ground. Is it random what kind of plants are going to grow? For example, you sow barley and what grows is wheat. You plant in your garden tomatoes and the result will be carrots. What an absurd idea! And so, my friends, it is in life in general. There are very strong correlations between your thoughts, your words and actions, and the results you experience in life. We are living in a world of order, of rules, of things you can rely on. Don't let the manifold appearances you witness every day deceive you and forget about the basic principles which life on earth is governed by. One of those principles is the following: what you sow, is what you reap. All religions and spiritual traditions tell us such in the one or the other way, as well as philosophies and recently even modern science has come to this conclusion. For instance, the Bible directly tells us about the link between sowing and reaping. Hinduism and Buddhism know about the concept of karma, and the Golden Rule speaks about doing to others what you want to be done to yourself. But there are a few points to watch out for when sowing. First, timing. Nature has seasons, and so has your life. There is a time for sowing, and there is a time for the harvest. You wouldn't plant strawberries outdoors in November and expect to reap fresh and ripe berries in February, wouldn't you? At least not if you're living in the northern hemisphere. Second, time delay. There is a ripening period between cause and effect. Nobody with a clear mind would sow and expect the results showing up the very next day. So, patience is a necessary virtue you will need. But there are also some important differences between sowing in life and literally sowing into the soil. First, the source. The real source of all good that comes into your life lies in the greater whole of creation. So even if your harvest reaches you through another individual, the origin of it lies beyond the individual. That's why the old said, every good and perfect gift comes from above, meaning from God, if you're a believer. Second, indirection. The principle of sowing and reaping does not mean that there is a direct relationship between a human being doing something good to another one and getting something back exactly from that person. The result can come through any human being or circumstances. This is not a business transaction where one gives to receive and vice versa. Reverend Michael Murdoch often talks about the profound passage in the Bible he found in Ephesians 6:8. What you do for others, God will do for you. A warning I must mention here. It might sometimes look like that good deeds don't lead up to good results, and many people have turned quite cynical about it, believing that all kind of crooks lead a good life, whereas honest people seem to suffer. But that is eventually the result of the limiting view we humans have, a kind of short-sightedness which is supported by the zeitgeist. It is not true that the people of the devil, so to speak, have all the fun. Teil 3, 4. And here comes the most important point, why the principle of sowing and reaping is so fundamental. This principle is the only real control you have over your destiny in life. Life is full of factors which are outside of our control. Bigger forces are influencing all the time. The more important it is to concentrate on the few things that are really in our control. And that makes the principle of sowing and reaping so crucial for your life. My friends, now it's time to make a confession. From what I have mentioned above, there is a clear call to action. My advice to you is give to others what you want to be given. That's right. And in this video, I myself am doing that right in front of you. Now it's out. There's no hidden agenda. The thing that I give to you, my viewers and listeners, are the things I want to receive myself. And I hope you're not mad at me. You probably wonder what the Crucible is all about. What is this YouTube channel standing for? What is its purpose? I have been waiting for this until now in this video, for I wanted to give you a first taste of what this channel does and look like before I give you a theoretical explanation. So now is the time. Let's talk about the Crucible. Imagine a crucible, I mean a technical device in the literal sense. It is a vessel used for high temperature processes with different purposes. It can be used for chemical analysis to determine the different components of material. It can create alloys by combining different metals, or, and that's its most fascinating application, a crucible can be used with metals and ores to separate the precious from the non-precious. The result, for example, is taking a dirty, hideous mass of kind of stuff and bringing forth the gold, which is hidden inside of it. It's the latter I and this channel are interested in. This channel, of course, is a crucible in the figurative sense. It is the vessel which tests under pressure the character, ideas, values, beliefs, and brings forth what is solid, precious, and reliable. It is about purifying, getting to the good stuff, the gold within, what stays when everything else has evaporated. Many of you probably know the saying, "He was forged in the crucible of war," meaning someone had to go through a profound and difficult ordeal. Here are the intended outcomes of the process of the crucible. First, testing. Second, purification. And third, transformation. Of course, I am not talking about a mechanical process, which, like a machine, is just processing a protocol, completing one step after the other. It is far more an attempt to purify by simultaneously applying science, philosophy, history, and many other areas to come to a more comprehensive and grand view on which space one find clarity and orientation to act accordingly with more success and zest at the same time. After all, the crucible is in itself growing and an evolving process, and let's not deny it, it's an experiment. The crucible, as much as it will be about analysis, shall primarily be about synthesis and synergies. This side of understanding is vastly underrepresented in our modern world. We analyze things until we lose ourselves in the smallest of the smallest detail, but forget about the bigger picture and how things interact with each other and what greater benefits can arise from a deeper insight. In the videos to come in the future, I will gradually tell you more about me, this channel, and the history of preceding channels, which eventually led to the crucible. Like the famous Robert Buckminster Fuller said, we must have the courage to be naive, to be a beginner again, when we really want to understand things and bring transformation into life. This channel is not about me. Not so much about education. It is also not so much about lecturing, but primarily its goal is transformation, to help people to transform themselves into a better version of themselves. What good does all the knowledge do when you cannot put it into practice and change things for the better? Knowledge is nothing. Transformation is everything. But this channel is, as I already said, not about me, it's about you, the viewers and listeners, and how you find help and inspiration, and of course, I hope you will be entertained and enjoy yourself also. My wish is to help people to make self-directed, independent decisions and to provide inspiration and material to do so. Eventually, it is a contribution to make humans and humankind a success. And never forget, always remember the truth.
And one thing before we wrap up. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and consider a subscription. And of course, I'm interested in what you think about this video and the channel in general. So please write a comment below this video. Thank you.